You remember the first time you faced Jordan?
But he's sitting in the arena on his Ferrari. And I think I told somebody this, but this is the only time I let a teammate down. I feel like I threw a teammate under the bus. So I'm getting off the game. It's game 3 or game 2. We're playing in the arena, and he's in the arena smoking a cigar. He's smoking a freaking cigar before the game as if it's over. So Jawan and I get off the bus, and he's like, "Yo, who's checking me today?" And this is when you're supposed to say, "Man, shut up, man. We about to beat y'all." But Calvin Chaney walks off the bus after us, and we all look back like, this would be your victim this evening. And he went on to score 54 there in Chicago. And so I just remember how cutthroat he was and how competitive he was.
What's up, Basketball Brain fans and members? How's it going? So today, again, we're talking about MJ. Why do we talk about MJ so much? Well, not only was he physically great, athletically gifted, but he was a mental master. I mean, by far and away the best. I know a lot of you guys don't like Skip Bayless, but he's dead on when he talks about MJ's sort of psychotic competitiveness. But what's really interesting is I've known a lot of players who are hyper competitive, but they're so hyper competitive that it throws them out of the rhythm of the game. What made Jordan a master was to have this sort of underlying rage in him that was on tap, but it never came through him in such a way that it shorted out the flow of the game. It never caused him to really go berserk. He could channel that passion for the game into dominant performances. Other players, you've seen it. They talk trash, right? They get into a little argument or a scuffle during the game, and then they come down and they jack up a 3 or some crazy shot and it doesn't go in. Jordan would talk trash, but then still play within the flow of the game. And that's what I want to talk to you about today, is when you're going to have games where there's a player on the other team who's maybe dirty, who's talking trash, overly aggressive, and there comes a scuffle, and you're going to want to go back after him, and that's totally natural. But you can also do it like Jordan, and that's how a real predator on the basketball court works. They take the energy. It's like a martial art almost. You take the energy of the guy who's coming at you, and you don't necessarily go right back at him right away. You absorb the energy, you have it in you, and you let it flow into the game. It doesn't become a one-on-one battle. In the back of your mind, there's that one-on-one battle. Don't get me wrong, because you're going to get the best of this guy. But you keep it within the team concept. You still shoot the shots that you are best at making. Jordan sticks to his fadeaway. He doesn't start jacking 3s when some guy kind of talks trash to him or comes after him. Now, it may seem in this scenario that Jordan had supreme confidence, okay? That he could, before the game, go talk to the other team and say, "Yo, who is checking me? Who has me tonight?" That sounds crazy, doesn't it? Would you want to put that pressure on yourself? Well, the thing is, and this is what I think, it wasn't about Jordan being confident. Well, not exactly. I mean, don't get me wrong. That's a level of confidence in its own way. But part of it is when you talk a little bit of trash, when you put pressure on yourself, the goal then becomes to enter the game and take all that pressure you just put on yourself away. So it becomes something, again, in the back of your mind. A little motivation in the back of your mind. You don't go out and over-try. As long as you don't go out and over-try, you're probably going to play fairly well. You're going to play within the team concept. You'll notice in this video, Jordan's getting to 15 feet every single time. Now, even if you're not a very confident player, if you work on your 15-foot jump shot, if you stay in the flow of your game, and you take the shots that you typically get, you're very likely to have a good game. So when Jordan's here, do you think he's thinking about what he said before the game? No, it's nowhere in his mind. Did he know he was going to have 55 points? No, of course not. But he put himself in a position where he wasn't overthinking. He wasn't trying to live up to the story he built before the game. And then after the game, it looks like he had this planned all along. Great players just want to get into the flow. And there's this little bit of extra energy you get when you put a little bit of a challenge on yourself, or when somebody challenges you. Jordan didn't always have that challenge from other players. So he had to do things like that before the game. And also, when you do this, it makes the game a game. And that's what it is. If you look at it as a game, you typically play better. So in closing, let's use a little bit of an analogy here. A challenge should be like healthy food that burns really slow. It shouldn't be like junky energy where you eat a lot of sugar and all of a sudden you get this burst of energy and it, for 5 minutes you're like frantic. No, like a good challenge, whether it's from somebody else or self-generated, is like eating an avocado. It's rich in good fats and it burns really slow and you don't even think about it because it just ups your energy, okay? It's not overpowering. It doesn't short circuit the system. So a good challenge, again, is like healthy food that burns slowly in the background. It's a nutrient, and you don't even notice it's there until afterwards. You think, wow, I felt really good, and I had that little bit of extra energy because I was eating really well. Does that make sense? I know maybe it's a little bit of a stretched analogy, but that's what it feels like to me when I take a challenge in any part of my life, and it's going on in the background, but it doesn't dominate my focus. Go to BasketballBrain.com if you want the full mental training program, where it's not just advice, it's not just motivation, it's actual psychological tactics to improve your game. And yes, since some of you asked, I do hold a degree in psychology.